for us, Coach?
So the first game we want to talk about was the biggest game in the state of Ohio. I think it was Max Prep's number two game in the country.
Right.
Maslin at St. Ed's, second year in a row. Maslin got them 31-21. The environment was great. St. Ed's had the all-black uniforms on. I don't know if you've seen them. It was fire.
I did.
Shout out to whoever created those or decision to wear those. Those was fire right there. But at the end of the day, it kind of came down to Jameer Gamble and Mylan Lennox. They kind of was the 1-2 duo for Maslin. They combined for over 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jalen Strother made some throws here and there. Braylon Toles made big catches like he always do. But at the end of the day, it kind of came down to defense, making timely plays against a big-time team. And then you got the dynamic duo, Gamble and Lennox, 1-2 punch. They closed it out over 200 total yards, 3 touchdowns. To me, that was kind of the deciding factor in the game, especially when you got two teams this evenly matched, two big-time programs. It kind of came down to Maslin being able to just put it in the belly of two good backs and they take them home. So, and it landed on a great defense also. So Maslin did their job. Shout out to St. Ed's, though. Quarterback Thomas Siani, 18-30, 252, 3 touchdowns. He played big. Zach Hackelman, 9 catches, 161 and a touchdown. He played big. Bradley Eaton, we're going to talk about Bradley here in a little bit, had a big return, touchdown catch, making plays on defense like he always do. At the end of the day, it's kind of like we talked about with Harding, Ursuline, St. Ed's, Maslin. These type of games in week 5, you always want to win. But if you lose, it's still early enough to let you know exactly where you need to be at.
Right.
You're still going to be stuff that you did well in the game. So we can kind of put a feather in our cap and know, okay, we can hang our hat on this based on the competition we just played. If we could do this against them, we could do this against anybody. But now we need to work on these things also.
Absolutely.
So really, both teams played well. Like you was in the atmosphere firsthand last year. You know how it is, bro. So it was a big time game. Maslin ended up getting them.
You know, when you watch these Maslin teams over the last 2 years, they don't really have like that big one guy or two guys that jump off the film with you, right? They usually got like, even last year, DeJuan Owens went for 20 plus carries against St. Ed's,
right.
So which a real Nate Moore brought that real unorthodox approach, but he's committed to running and getting it done by any means. So shout out to Maslin, and that matchup is a good fight with the styles.
It's almost anticipated now going into every year.
Right.
Football fans like us, I'm sure the people in Maslin and St. Ed's, I'm sure they circle that game on the schedule every year based off everything you just said, man. So man, that's a great atmosphere, great environment. And like you said, the thing with Maslin is they so deep. Any 2 or 3 players can get you on any given Friday.
Right.
They so deep. Like you said, they ain't really reliant. Okay, we know these 2 players is everything going to run through them. And if we stop them, we got a chance. You can stop Maslin's top 2 players. You can stop, all right, we want to put pressure on Jalen Slaughter and stop Jameer Gamble. But you still got to cover Braylon Toles. Still got to cover Ja. You know what I mean? So, I mean, good luck.
Good luck,
you know what I mean? So, they deep. And then same thing defensively. They got playmakers all over the field at all 3 levels. So, they are definitely a well-balanced team. Coach Moore, shout out to Coach Moore.
Yeah, they trust their system. Right, they trust their system, and they go, man.
And they go, bro. So it's going to be interesting to watch both teams moving forward. But it was a great game. Both teams played well. At the end of the day, Maslin got them.
For sure.
And then our second game, Cleveland Heights at Mentor. We talked about last year, Cleveland Heights getting Mentor in overtime. Mentor wanted to get some get back. Last year, Scotty Fox didn't get a chance to play in that game, right? And, of course, Mentor lost by 1. He showed this year why he makes a difference. 303 total yards, 4 touchdowns. He throws for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns, and eventually end up hitting his favorite number 1 target, Justin Hodge, on the game-winner 80-yard catch and run. That sealed it in the third quarter. Shout out to Justin Hodge, like I just said. He go for 7 for 182 in the touchdown. In the game winning 80-yard touchdown catch. So they kind of led them boys, man. You put up 35 against a team as talented as Cleveland Heights, you playing big-time football. So at the end of the day, Scotty Fox, Justin Hodge, that's a dynamic duo you got to deal with if you playing Mentor. Right. And they showed up, man. Anytime a quarterback account for 303 and 4 touchdowns against a Cleveland Heights team and the receiver go get you 7 for 182, they putting in some work. You know what I mean? So shout out to Scotty Fox, shout out to Justin Hodge, but I definitely want to give a shout out to Marquise Davis, man. I don't know if you got a chance to see his numbers. He went 32 for 339 and 2 touchdowns, also had a 26-yard touchdown catch. So he did everything he could to try to get his team over the hump. I'm pretty sure it's his first game back being full strength, and it's scary for the rest of the schedule that's going to play Cleveland Heights, because when that guy full strength, they definitely a different team. And with him being out the last couple of weeks, even though they that talented, you can still see the importance of Marquise Davis. You know what I mean? They shout out to the young back Elijah Harris. They got a good young freshman back. But you could just tell it's different when you got Marquise Davis in there, not only just from him and the production he brings, just from the belief in his teammates. You know what I mean? So
absolutely, and not to mention the fact when Marquise Davis don't play, they missing a guy that covered a lot of space on defense. So it's not. I mean, the offense, you already know you have to replace that by committee. Like you said, there's some great backs. They got some great athletes that can, kind of piece together what they miss with him. Not replace him, but kind of like by committee replace some of the things they miss with him. But on the defensive side, man, when you got a dynamic guy that can cover a lot of space, short tackler in space, you kind of miss that. Then when you bring in like Scotty Fox, that's going to move the safeties around.
And make plays with his feet.
Right.
That's a great point, bro. That's a great point.
Cleveland Heights, we talked to Coach and Marquise earlier this season, before the season started, and their mind is on the playoff run. They are on a playoff run. They was banged up early in the year, I'm sure. You know what I'm saying? Everybody banged up, not to make excuses for them, but like the gauntlet that they played would be the only reason why, we ain't got to push the panic button.
Absolutely.
Just yet.
And like you said, that's a good point, because you could tell earlier in the year they was focused on wanting to go further in the playoffs and close that deal. But this could be a blessing in disguise that they 2-3, because now that's out the window. We can't even look down the street. We got to be focused here and there. And that's probably what they need. A team that talented, let's just get back to the basics of everything. Football, let's get back to the fundamentals. Blocking, tackling, lining up right. You know what I mean? 11 on, 11 off, 2 people sub in, 2 people sub out. And let's get back to the basic fundamentals of our mentality. Let's just work every day. Let's just stack bricks every day, and then let the talent take over every Friday and see where the chips land at the end of the year. So,
Indeed.
You know what I mean? Another good big time environment, but shout out to Minner. They got the dub. And then our last game we wanted to talk about on the Stellascope last week, Ursuline traveling to Harding. Really wasn't too much game at the end of the day. Ursuline kind of whooped them 35-0. Put the running clock on them. I hate to say that, being a Warren guy. We got the running clock put on us. And at the end of the day, it kind of was that no huddle. I talked about it last week when I talked about the game. If you Harding, in my mind, I'm thinking I'm trying to run the ball 50 times. I'm trying to keep that offense off the field. And then when they're on the field, I'm trying to get 3 and outs. Because when Ursuline get a first down and they kind of get that no huddle going, they're tough to beat. And if you can see that, they got that no huddle going. Joe Baylog starting running that thing down their throat. And then after that, DC making plays, hit DC here, hit the tight end down the middle. You know what I mean? So everything, the offense kind of opened up from there. And then for Harding, you can't have 4 turnovers. Definitely can't have 3 of them in the red zone. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, another 2 things that stood out about Harding is they need some more playmakers. At the end of the day, they need some more playmakers. That's just me thinking as a coach. If I'm game planning against Harding, I'm really only circling 2 players that I feel like that can make plays, can make enough plays or can make big plays to beat me. That ain't no knock on no kid that's at Warren G. Harding. That ain't no knock. That's just the truth of the matter going into week 6. You know what I mean? So they need more playmakers. They need a little more depth. You could tell a couple of bodies have been going down. They're playing some younger kids, which is great for the future, but you need a little more depth, need a little more playmakers. And again, you can't have 4 turnovers and expect to be in the game, let alone win the game, and be in the game against a team as good as Ursuline.
Absolutely. Just to add to what you said, Coach, the point I took away from as we got back, watched the game, for one, anytime a team is running the ball up the middle and gashing you up the middle, it's a recipe for destruction, right? We already know no matter what you had planned, giving up gashing runs up the middle, and shout out to Baylog, you know what I'm saying? Because he definitely finished his breakfast because he was eating. He was eating up the middle. Also, what I really noticed was in addition to that, Harding lose my king early. They lose my king early. He had a couple great runs to start the game, and then they lost him early, which definitely, I'm sure, kind of made couple that with the turnovers. Now Harding's getting in a game that's not their identity. You talked about 2 teams establishing their identity. Well, early in the first half, the key person or one of the key personnel in your found identity, go out.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Reardon, blood in the water. He applied pressure to Warren G. Hardy on all three phases of the game. I mean, he ran it with tempo.
Mm-hmm.
He ran it with tempo. If you really look at it, Devontae Taylor didn't. It was 20-0 before he touched the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if they didn't, I mean,
if you look at the touchdown catch, it was just a quick slant off RPO.
I mean, it was so they employed. They kept the pressure on special teams. They're flying around on defense, making Chaz be a more improvising, which he does it well.
Mm-hmm.
But like you mentioned,
it's such a fine line between improvising and trying to make a play and then forcing plays.
Right, you playing both ways, and then when you do make a play, like Harden did get on the roll, completed some passes. Marcus Crum, Devin Morgan, they caught some passes, but there was after the catch, everything's in front of you. You down 28. That's almost fool's gold. Right. So it's like you getting those catches, you moving the ball, but everything's in front of you. Nobody's making nobody miss. There's no yak. Clock still running.
It was tough to watch, man. Like you said, I went home and watched it after we left from South Range. It was tough to watch. The turnovers was a killer. Like you said, you lose Mike King early. That's one of your big time playmakers that's gone. So it's like you playing. It's almost like you playing left handed. You know what I mean? It's almost like you playing left handed. And then you can see as the more they started kind of throwing the ball, you can move the ball throwing the ball, but you also opened up Pandora's box.
Right.
Interceptions, sacks, negative plays. That's, people always just want to see passing all the time. Mm-hmm. But from a coach's perspective, it's a lot of negative that goes in the pass plays.
It's only a few things that can happen, right?
Like on the pass play, the line first we got to get the snap. Line got to block right. The receivers got to run the right route. Quarterback got to make the right read. Then we got to make the right ball, catch it, secure it, make a play. So a lot of times if I could just get the snap, put it in somebody's belly, and then hopefully he make the right read and protect the ball, it's just a lot less negativity that can happen. So anytime Hardy can't rely on the run game and got to throw it a lot more, especially this year, it's probably not a recipe, probably not a good recipe for them. But shout out to Ursland, man. Shout out to their offensive line, played well. Seemed like the offensive line getting in better shape because when Ursland was going no huddle, the offensive line was right there and was still creating holes for Joe Baylaw to run through and giving DC Farrell time to make throws. Shout out to Coach McGlynn, 4 turnovers. Defense was flying around making plays. And Ursland got the dub. Special shout out to little bro, Chauncey, you know what I mean, on the staff. Great job over there. Had them boys flying around ready to make plays, man. And Ursland got the dub, 35-0.
I'm glad you brought up Chauncey because there's a picture floated around social media. Chauncey, you meet him, he nothing but love. Right. One of the nicest guys you ever want to sit down and talk to. But somebody caught a picture of him showing a lot of emotion.
I got to see that.
Yeah, man, it'll make a great air freshener. You know what I'm saying?
I got to see that.
It's a great picture. So shout out to Chauncey.
Shout out to little bro and shout out little bro, man, because like you said, Chauncey a great dude. He also one of the most resilient and tougher people that you know. Chauncey been through a lot, but when you see Chauncey in person, you see him being the father, you see him being the coach, you don't see that. You don't feel
he's pouring into whoever he's talking to.
Absolutely.
He's not coming to you like he's been through a lot. He's checking on your spirit, checking on your energy.
So shout out to little bro, man. And congratulations to Ursula. They got the dub, man.
Indeed.
LB checking in, man. Keep it locked in, but in between the lines with Coach Stella, you feel me? You did.